Hey, let's turn that off real quick. Okay, yeah. Hi. Hey, everyone. Hi. This is song number 7. It's actually going to be a bit of a short song because it's actually still in the works. This song is called Fall Apart. It's a rock song. Well, at least so far, all there is rock. I'm going to be adding more like electronic influence throughout the song as well. But what I'm going to play for you is like the ending of the verse going into the chorus. And I'm going to tell you how I made this. So let's take a listen. Alright, so it's by no means the best thing ever, but it is definitely, good. It definitely has that sound of guitar and bass and drums. So we're going to get started. We're actually going to start by talking about the drums, just to get it out of the way by itself. So the drums are just those two patterns right there. This first pattern, first of all, I'm using a drum simulator because I don't have a full drum set or the mics or the mixer to even do a real drum set. So, with the limited equipment I have, I'm using a drum kit. So I set up the pattern and then I recorded it and put the samples in here. Nothing too big there. Drums are pretty straightforward. I just wanted to point that out, get that out of the way. Yes, it is a drum sampler. Alright, so now let's go ahead and move on to the guitar so that we can get to the really good stuff. We're going to ignore these first 4 channels. That's for later. That's for when I'm actually finishing the song. Alright, so we've got 2 guitars playing this main riff here. Alright, so there's 2 different ways you can record electric guitars. You can record it directly into the computer using amp simulators, or you can record it using an amp and microphone. I would love to be able to do the amp and microphone technique, but the fact is I have a crappy amp that, quite frankly, doesn't sound too great. And the guitar itself isn't that great either. It's my dad's old guitar from when he was a teenager, so it's not the best equipment in the world. What I do have is an audio interface. It's a... One moment. It's a Tascam US100 USB audio interface. I got it for about $100, Guitar Center, pretty easy. Plug the guitar directly in, and then everything else that I use is actually free. So if you can get your guitar into the computer, the rest is no problem. So without... let's see. Okay. So when you first plug your guitar in and turn on any amp simulator, it will probably sound something like this. It'll sound like crap. And it's because the simulators themselves are basically, no matter how high-end it is, no matter how good, it lacks the real feel of an amp. And that's the problem. So just to point out, what I'm using here is a Paolin Solo C Head version 2.0. It's free. I'll put the link in the description for this, as well as the next thing, which is the Lay Cab 2 from the same people. The Lay Cab 2 is the secret to getting amp simulators, whatever simulator you use, whether it be Guitar Rig or whatever. Because this is basically impulse response. Impulse response, in basic terms, is taking the audio image of an amplifier and applying it to the amp simulators. It's acting as though it's a cabinet. So whenever you use the Lay Cab, you're going to want to bypass any cabinets that you have going on in your amp simulator. So Guitar Rig, you just bypass the cabinet, because this is basically acting like it for you. Now, I'm using the Catharsis Fredman impulses. I'll put the download for that as well below. It's free. The one on presshigh.wave. And by simply putting that in and turning it on, it changes the whole way that guitar simulator sounds. So without it, it sounded like crap. Whoops. And with it, it sounds much better. Now, for the other programs I use, Edison to record, obviously, and then a parametric EQ going into it to kind of help shape the guitar. As you can see, I didn't even do that much. It just kind of helped with the tone a bit. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, for the guitars, for any type of guitar, whenever you're doing like rhythm or octaves here or whatever, you always want to record the guitar perfectly twice. And then what you're going to do is pan one to the left and one to the right. So on both of these, they're at the same exact settings. The left's a little bit higher, so you hear it more in the left, just ever so slightly. Nice effect. And it gives this nice full guitar. So I did the same thing with these guitar octaves here. The guitar octaves are slightly lower in volume, and the pan, it's panned only a little more than halfway to the left and a little more than halfway to the right. Just to kind of keep it, I don't know, it just sounds good. Let's
demo version.
Oops. Whoops. Sorry, I did a stupid thing there. I meant to only solo these, not the mixer track, and mute my voice. Alright, so it the guitar octaves sound like so. So together with the guitars, it sounds pretty great. Now the problem is it's all mid-range and high-end. So of course we got to add in a bass. Now the problem with my bass is it was a very cheap $150 bass I got at Guitar Center back when I was like 12. So by itself it sounds pretty crappy. Yeah, not very good at all. So, because it had the crappiest low end of any bass I've ever heard, I decided I would still use it, but use it for tone. So, in the parametric EQ I've got on that mid-range bass, I basically cut out the low end and the high end and made it just mid-range. And then what I did was I added in this low end bass and I programmed it in. Some people think of it as cheating. I think of it as I don't have any good equipment, so I gotta do what I can to make it sound good. So for this low end bass, it's a Citrus preset. One moment. I guess it was there the whole time. It's the electric preset, and I haven't really done much to it except, let me take that back to Unsorted. I added in this parametric EQ that cut off the high end and cuts slightly into the mid range, but it kept it low end. Let's eat these. Now, it makes it definitely sound more like a bass, but on these two notes here, you'll notice that they're like the real bass is an octave higher than the low end bass. That's because if I went that low on my bass, it would sound like crap. So once again, I'm just trying to make it sound good at this point. But altogether, it actually sounds good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Oops, sorry. That's pretty much it for the tutorial. And the one thing I can't stress enough is the delay cab 2 and impulse response. That is the most important thing if you're using amp simulators to actually make it sound almost like a real amp. As you can tell, I still got work to do here to make it sound even better, but like I said, this is a demo. This is still early on, so take the techniques I've taught here if you want to, record some rock stuff in FL Studio. This is the best way to do it with simulators. Yeah, so I'll see you guys in a few more days. We'll get going on another song. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.